Hi everyone. This is my final review, and for this review, I wanted to pick an album that I think means a lot to me music-wise, and I feel like this is the perfect album to finish off with. This is Twin Fantasy, the face-to-face version by Car Seat Headrest. This is a reworking of their 2011 album, Twin Fantasy, now referred to as Twin Fantasy Mirror to Mirror. Basically, what we get on this album, the 2018 version, where the production is completely reworked to be a lot nicer to the ears, but still have the lo-fi aesthetic of the 2011 version, and the like pretty much everything is re-recorded. Basically, what we get here is 10 sort of lo-fi rock, sad white boy sort of tracks, and they're all like just so great. Like not only from a writing standpoint, but from a lyrical standpoint and from a structural standpoint as well. There's almost nothing to dislike on this album. But kicking off this album with My Boy, Twin Fantasy in parentheses, I think this is a perfect introduction to the album with this sort of repeating chorus that it's like the only thing that they say throughout the song, and it sort of builds up. So first he's just singing it really sort of quietly, and then we get a little bit louder, sort of falsetto version. His falsetto, Mr. Will Toledo's falsetto, the singer for them, he has a beautiful falsetto. It sounds so good. And then after that, we just get this massive third time through. Really helps establish the album. And from an instrumental standpoint as well, it starts out mainly with drumming. In fact, you can actually, it's really simple. It's just sort of bass, bass, stick click, bass, bass, stick click. And it's just repeated over and over. And the bass line sort of follows of just being uh, uh, a lower note, higher note, lower note, higher note. It's really simple, but it really gets the effect across. And the guitars, as they come in, at first they're pretty quiet, but then they start really kicking in towards the third chorus, and they just sound amazing all throughout. So yeah, a great song, perfect starter. And then following that, Beach Life and Death. I thought about this song for a while, and I think it's my favorite song of all time. I just can't describe the emotion the lyrics bring to me, and the just the chord progression is fantastic, and the way all the instruments just weave around each other, and the production, just everything. I just love it so much. There's not as like I cannot think of any criticisms any person could have for this song. I'm sure there are people out there who can, but like for me personally, I just can't see it. I think this song is like perfect in every single way. And yeah, that's why I think it's my favorite song ever. It's got like I said, a fantastic chord progression, but from a structural standpoint as well, it goes all over. It's always pretty frantic and energetic the entire time, and I really like that about it. And the refrain at the end of "The ocean washed over your grave" is just a fantastic refrain, especially over the chords playing. The intro as well, like everything about it, sort of how the intro gets a reprise later on, but it's slightly off to fit the themes. And they're like the lyrics on this thing are just so good as well. Like it's not the depression that hurts you, but the brain's reaction against it. Just so good. I could talk about this song for hours. It's a 13-minute song, and there's just so much detail in it. In fact, I don't think I've even gotten around to like being able to memorize every single part because there's just so much going on the entire time. But yeah, after that, stop smoking in parentheses. We love you. They really like their parentheses. Is a nice acoustic guitar sort of interlude. It's still a full song, but I consider it an interlude just because it's mainly just guitar and that's it. But it's this nice interlude of him just saying, uh, like to one of his I assume his twin. There is a little bit of a narrative that goes throughout this album about sort of being an adolescent and sort of getting into college eventually and being with like a boyfriend or girlfriend or something of that nature. But sort of him talking to them about just not smoking because they don't want him to die or them to die. I'm not gonna say. And then following that, Sober to Death is another one of my favorites. Obviously, not as favorite as Beach Life and Death, but like no other song is as good as Beach Life and Death. But that's not to say that Sober to Death isn't just a fantastic song. It starts out with all these really low guitar notes that are just played so well, and yeah, it's another fantastically written, fantastically structured song. It's got that lo-fi aesthetic like everything else here, which I will say goes away a little bit on "Stop Smoking, We Love You," but that's only because there aren't really any drums to make super noisy and distort. But anyways, back to "Sober to Death." I really like the sort of build into the chorus of just all these short notes before going into the long notes of the chorus. And the ending is really great too, where it's alternating between 6/8 and 4/4 time signatures of it's really interesting to hear, and it's just enjoyable. Uh, Nervous Young and Humans is another one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites on this album. But essentially, it's sort of like a pop song in a sense. It's got these big like soaring synths all throughout. These great keyboards. Um, they it's really difficult to describe the sound, but like they almost sound like something out of something from the 80s, but a lot more like the rest of the album, lo-fi, and it's got just great guitars all over it, like every other song here. And after oh yeah, the post chorus on here is just so good. Of you'll get what you want, you'll get what you deserve. It sounds like incredible. It sounds incredible. Everything here is incredible. I'm not sure how many times I'm gonna repeat that, but that's honestly what I think. There's not anything bad to say about it. Um, After a little bit though, it sort of gets the guitar drops away a little bit, and the bass sort of comes to the front, and everything sort of simmers down, and he sort of talks. Mr. Will Toledo sort of sings throughout. I like the lyrics on here. They're not like, I'm sure there's like a deeper meaning to them, but they just sound good all throughout. And the guitars, when they come in, sort of act more like embellishments on the bass chords, or not chords, the bass lines all throughout, which is really fun to hear. But yeah, just a great song. Following that, Bodies is sort of like something to dance to. It's got this pounding 4/4 beat to it, especially on the sort of anti-chorus and the later like actual chorus of just all throughout. And the lyrics are just like so fun. It's just such a nice, fun song to just. Uh, it just sounds so feel good, which is good because 2 songs later we get a really depressing song. But first, Cute Thing, which is a little bit, the instrumentation is a little bit more punky. In fact, we get quite a good solo that for some reason makes me think of like. It makes me think of Arctic Monkeys, but I'm not sure why, and I feel like there's a better metaphor for it, but I can't really think of one. But it's sort of like pop punk, I'd say, which doesn't fit Arctic Monkeys at all, I know, but it's just the closest thing I can really think of. Just really incredible, and I'm not going to talk about the lyrics. But after that, High to Death. Jesus, this song is so sad. Like, everything about it is just crafted to make you like bawl your eyes out. Uh, I I I I can sort of say it's probably due to like all the nostalgia it brings back with these sort of reversed notes being played back and forth, and yeah, there's sort of a recording of children sort of just talking to each other, and like they're like how children talk to each other, where they're sort of yelling. It's just like so sad, and the reverb put over Mr. Will's voice just adds to that as well. It's so sad. I like. It is. I mean, I don't have too much else to say about it, but Jesus. And then after that, Famous Prophets stars sort of take it sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. It's a 16-minute sort of magnum opus to this album. This big almost finale, the second to last song, where we have all these sort of reprises and samples from earlier in the album. Like towards the end of the song, they sample the intro cut, except they like loop it all over itself. So like the lyrics are completely nonsensical, but it just sounds cool. And the return of the refrain from Beach Life and Death of the ocean washed over your grave, although this time being a lot less frantic and a lot more sort of slow, not really sad, just laid back, is just such an incredible move. Like it's genius. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It is a genius move. It just makes so much sense to sort of almost close off this album with like back where we started. And the sort of towards the intro where we get the bass lines and the more low-key vocals. I love the transition into the sort of ground-shattering guitar riff throughout, especially the second time through, where he sort of like they say we gotta go back, and then eventually like he just shouts it over the riff just coming in and it's shattering through everything. It's just so amazing. And I especially like how it transitions into like a piano-driven song. Not a ballad, definitely. I don't think there's really any ballads on here, but just so incredible. The chords on here and everything. Yeah, that's about all I have to say on that song. And then Twin Fantasy, those boys, the closer. I really like how it sort of restates the title of the intro track, but reverses it to be those boys instead of my boy, to sort of show a separation between him and his twin. But it uses the organs that I've talked about in my other album reviews. And like I said before, anytime I hear these sort of organs on an album, it's pretty much guaranteed to get a 10 out of 10. And I think that's just because like the people that utilize them know how to make an emotional track. And this is certainly really emotional. It sort of sounds like almost a finale to the era of this album in sort of a way, even though this is only an hour and 10 minutes long album. It feels like just such a big closer, almost like a credits roll moment, though I guess you could say that about a lot of closers to albums. This just feels like so complete. A really nice resolution to a fantastic album. So yeah, this album is I want to say my favorite album of all time, but I can't narrow it down to just one album. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made this list, I don't think. But it is really close, and just personally for me, this album got me into so much. If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't know about people like Phil Elverum with the microphones in Mount Erie, or pretty much anything that's relatively like lo-fi and underground. So yeah, just an incredible album. Easy 10 out of 10. In fact, I'd almost say like 11 out of 10, but that's not something I'd give lightly. But there's just so much on here, and everything is just so perfect to a point that I can't describe. So yeah, that's all I have to say on this album. Thanks for watching. Other than that, let me know what you think in the comments about this album, because I am really curious to know what other people think, because just like I said, this album is pretty personal to me and my introduction to the underground music scene, so I want to hear sort of what someone who has heard it but has also listened to other underground music prior to it thinks. So yeah, thanks for watching.